morning, everyone. Good morning, Mahesh. Mahesh, na?
Mm.
See, normally, especially for those who are online, no, because we keep this interactive as much as possible, at least in the beginning, basically because this is very important, because whatever doubts you have can be cleared in the first, when it is being built, the philosophy. Whatever doubts you have, if they are being, we are able to build it properly, it helps us, it helps you also to further build upon it. When some disconnection issue. Yeah. So the normal procedure is that you may, like Yash, you may not keep your video on. That's up to you. Okay, because then you get a lot of good bandwidth. If you keep your video off, then the connectivity continues. Okay. The best way is what you do, whatever questions, whenever you have, you just type your doubt in chat, because I would be keeping my chat box on in front of me. So any doubt, any question, and any time. Okay. So obviously you no need to ask me like, sir, can I have one question? Can I ask one question? I have one. Nothing like that. You just type whatever question you have. Obviously, you're typing something means I already know that you have a question. And the moment I read the question in between, I'll try to answer. Again, the main reason behind this is, and that we have been seeing in previous batches that we have been having, is that initial, if there is any kind of skipping, jumping, not understanding, it creates problem later on for no reason, right? So, and philosophy is the kind of topic where it cannot be like All India Radio, that I'm just telling you, you just do it. It happens in the things where there is no much um, in-depth understanding of things. Interlinking is required. Like it's some data, like what happens in news, current affairs. Like this happened, this happened. Okay, no problem. Like that. So Shibani, Gayatri, Yash, and obviously Mahesh is sitting here. But anyway, you can anytime ask, because you are sitting offline. Okay. Yes. Sir, could you tell us how can we make our schedule after the class so that there is better retention of philosophy? Evaporates with time. Yes. I'll come back to that also. About the how we are going to do it, because today's lecture we are not going to start with Charvak. It's basically introduction to Indian philosophy, and to some just kind of listen today, because there is nothing to note down today. Whatever basic doubts, exam related doubts, even your doubt with respect to course, how should I study, any question you have, you can ask today. Okay, so we'll take that question, Gayatri, in a time, sometime. So I was talking about that's why it is must that you keep it interactive. Okay. Now, first and foremost, the thing that all of you, now you're starting, because this will continue for 4.5 months, because what actually we can finish it in 3 months. But the thing is, unless simultaneous revision happens, so at least 2 days, mostly Sunday, Monday, or Monday, Tuesday, whichever I will let you know, will be there for you to revise and write weekly tests. There will be questions asked in the class once the thinker is over, and I will wait for you to write for 10 minutes, because for any optional for that matter, all the more for philosophy, the first answer you write is the starting point of your actual preparation. So, and you will write so much. Last batch also, many people, they were tired of writing, but they understood the importance of it. And especially those who are going through who went through, basically that batch is over for writing mains this time. Around 10 people who are part of the booster course, that is crash course, which will be automatically available for you in June. That is for you to keep you mains ready. So those people are writing every day. They have to write and send me on WhatsApp or Telegram, then I'll feedback. Apart from test series or anything, this is informal writing. Okay, so point is, first and foremost, the thing that you keep in mind when you join anything for that matter, and obviously this is one, why have you come here? Now you have to think like a philosopher. The first thing philosopher think is why. For anything you just ask why. Why means, for any why means, what would like to know? The reason, right? Why means reason, right? And reason is the birthplace of philosophy. Now, this I'm taking to the optional also. At the same time, you will realize I'll take it to your own life also. Right? That's how it works. Whether you agree, don't agree, if you want to just consider philosophy to be something that we don't understand, it is not like that at all. Okay. So, anyway, why now? I'm not talking about this optional as in reasoning, rationality, Kant, Socrates, Buddha, that I'm not taking to now. Now here, you are sitting here, today is 26th July, you're sitting here with some plan that you have. What is that plan? For philosophy, you have to be very precise and to the point. In life also, it helps the way you think also, because even like for example in interview, in other places in life, you become very clear whatever you want to do, you are very clear with. You don't beat around the bush. That's what philosophy is. Now, so if I ask you or others, Yash, Shibani, Gayatri, why are we here? No, I'm talking about here, as in not in world, not philosophical wala here in the class. And that's very important. You know, again, sorry to take some more time of yours. This is the word for you in life. Confidence is all byproduct of this. If you're clear, you're confident. If you're not clear, you're not confident, right? Okay. So tell me, why are you here? To have for, and that is for what? That is for what? Okay, philosophy concepts clear. To have basically what? Mark. That's it. Basically, you are here to kind of take your marks to marks beyond 300. To the extent possible. It can remain 280, 270, depends, the market things. Yes, Shivani. To prepare philosophy for exam, yes, but basically for 300. Right? Any issue with respect to clarity? Rest other things. I am not saying that this is the only purpose, but this is the core purpose. If this is not there, you should, anybody should stop coming here for any option for that matter. In addition to this, now this 300 why, then there is subsequent thing that you get into service, and you know how crucial optional is. Now, briefly, if you see this UPSC exam, most of like 99.9% you know everything, and we are assuming that we are studying philosophy means even in thought process we'll start thinking as if we have cracked prelims, right? For thought purpose, unless we crack prelims, why are you doing philosophy optional now? Assuming that obviously on 29th of 28th of May, I guess, right? So on till 1st of June, you are very clear that I am 120 plus in prelims. That's the reason you are already doing it, so that time it becomes only answer writing, right? So we are not going to talk. Obviously, that's a different ball game altogether. So in mains, and anyway, in merit, it's only mains marks, So GS philosophy for us, and essay and interview. So unless, and this everything 250 out of 250 like that, this is only 275, hardly 25 marks extra. Unless you get marks here, here, here and here. Or rather, when I'm saying this, what I'm actually trying to communicate is, these are the places where you can have an edge over others, substantial edge. Why? Because somebody is getting 240 in some other optional or even philosophy, and you are getting 290. Just imagine 50 marks means you actually surpassed 5,000 students, because it becomes like, one person is like 100 marks. 100 marks means if you can have that many marks, so many people will be left behind. You can just cross them. Same is the case with essay. Same is the case with ethics. And fortunately, or being an advantage, that these four are to some extent connected. No, connected doesn't mean that, okay, you have given philosophy is optional philosophy. Okay, give him in isko ethics mein na 150 de do. Aisa nahi. It doesn't work like that, obviously, but it helps, and I'll keep on kind of reiterating that, explaining that thing to you in subsequent lectures as to how, right? It also helps in interview. Obviously, it's my personal experience also, and many many of my colleagues in the sense in the academy, those who had philosophy optional or other co-aspirants, they also had the same thing, that somewhere, provided you have, come back to you how philosophy marks, and there is another additional aspect to this. If you continue with that, your interview marks will be certainly very good, to some extent essay also. Now, this was a little digression. Now I'm coming back to this, right? 300 plus that we talked about, but now it's not just that. It's not that only in the philosophy optional you're going to get 300 plus or 290, 280. There are other options also, right? So you came here to have marks in optional, because optional hai, UPSC is providing that, well, keeping it there. Why philosophy? That means there is something, okay, which you have or you understand yourself, which is closer to philosophy. There might be many other issues also that very small you can revise. It is very much there, yes. Literally limited material means there are only 5, 6 books. That 2, 3 books only, you have to read all 90% of the book. Rest, and this video, this is on this particular details. There is a video on level of website where I have explained as to how much percent which book and all that. So basically, some inclination should be created. If it is there, very good. What philosophy means, how it to think like philosopher. Not much difference. I'm not saying that there is something great you don't have and you have to bring it from somewhere. No, you have to just think on the basis of this. So it has to be untiring, unending pursuit of reason and rationality. Question everything and keep on getting some answers. Whatever answer you are getting, assume that at that level this is the answer. There might be further level in depth, more in depth than it is now. So what I'm trying to say is, one is marks, and second is to some extent interest. Now, interest doesn't mean that if you don't like philosophy or any other optional for that matter, however smart you might be, however crisp notes might be, however hardworking you might be, revising, it is very difficult to understand question and write the answers. So some inclination should be there, and this inclination, what I was talking about in interview, not just copying other philosophers, that's one thing. That is anyway we are going to do. All the 250, 500 marks for the philosophy of paper 1, paper 2 is trying to grasp what the particular philosopher said. But when that particular philosopher said something, there is logic. He's not just saying, it's not religion, it's not faith, where I'm just telling you that just 2 plus 2 is equal to 5 and just assume it and go forward in life. Doesn't happen. So basically, whenever philosopher says, obviously it is from his or her point of view, mostly his point of view, because in whole of syllabus there is no lady thinker. That's another issue we'll discuss later. So main point is to have that appreciation for this top subject. You will certainly have it if you allow that to happen, because this is called mother of all the kind of knowledge, all the streams. Why? Because somebody who started thinking. Philosophy is based on what? Two things: experience and reasoning. So when you experience something, you reason out as to why it happened. Anything, like for example, just imagine a scenario small. Now we are discussing, we are involved, and you suddenly start feeling warm. Now you did not have any idea as to what happened, but your experience told you something, and then your mind immediately start reasoning as to what happened, why I am feeling uneasy, why I am feeling warm. Then you look for what might be the reason. That is now reasoning starts. Then you realize, oh, AC is not working the way it was working half an hour before. So what happened? Your experience is followed by your reason. Sometimes what happens, and that we will see in Kant, reason itself becomes experience. Are you getting what I'm saying? So if you experience something, anything for that matter, okay, if you eat something, then you think that no, this experience is something different than who compares? Reasoning compares. So it continuously, but sometimes what happens? Your reasoning only gives you experience. Can you give me an example of that? Very simple things, not big things, small things. That your reasoning mind only give you some experience.
One day, तो क्या पता चला है कि यहाँ पे जर्नी होने वाली है।
Yeah, that is, yes, you took the same example, good. But basically, whenever we say we do overthinking, what do we do? Sitting somewhere, think. Some situations and some experiences that you imagine. It has not happened to you. Thinking about a result day, your name in the period. Yes, exactly. That she is saying, Gayatri is saying, thinking about result that my name is in the list gives me goosebumps. Yes. So what happened basically? Your reason gave you the experience. And now we are not the comparison that whether it is as true, as authentic experience or not, things that we'll discuss later. See, please try to understand what I'm trying to communicate is whatever written in the books might be written in a very esoteric. Esoteric means something very not very big things. Jo normally we say no big technical philosophical things. It is the word is esoteric terms. They are actually talking about our own life only. Only thing is if you are ready to apply. Like take example of sociology. If you are studying sociology, they are talking about what in Indian context. They are talking about weaker sections, how sociological formulations happens, how people think. Now, when we see like how religion is opium of masses, right? Marx said, can't we see how people are reasoning wisely? I'm not saying which political party, not this party, that party, no. But if you're discussing about, okay, give us employment, okay, if you talk to somebody and then only we call them bhakt in a sarcastic way, and media calls them bhakt of particular party. Why bhakt? Because religion is very prominent in that political party. I am not against it or for it. That's another issue because that let them political science people discuss. What I'm trying to communicate is When Marx said that, it's not that Marx, some 19th century was sitting somewhere, so he discussed, let us study. No, please try to understand it's happening here. Okay, like for example, now this tea is there. I'll have the tea. Now there is a statement by this thinker called Berkeley. Okay, Western philosopher, empiricist. So when he says that when I drink coffee, actually I'm not drinking coffee. I am drinking the idea of coffee. So because there is nothing, coffee hai nahi. So what he says is, whatever my idea is reality, it is just an image. You would like to compare what, have you seen the movie Matrix? First Matrix, famous, but you know Matrix movie? Hollywood movie, very famous. If you get time, whenever sometimes during preparation, coming days, whenever you get time, please watch that movie. Pakka, first. And try to weed it out, those aspects like, stunts and all, that you just, okay, it's okay for the bacha party to enjoy. Try to understand what they are talking. If you're not getting time, do one thing. There is something called dialogues of Matrix, like a philosophical term, and people read it just to understand philosophically. And that is also based on very much Vedanta philosophy that they themselves declared in the end. If you see the movie, it's very, very famous movie. So in that, what they have shown is the scenario where you are doing whatever you are doing now, plug it in the world. Yes. So actually, now you are coming here, sitting here, enjoying, eating, going out, having food, enjoying whatever. Basically, you are not doing anything. You are sitting in the chair in which something is plugged into you, and this is what is shown to you. Basically, it is created dream for you. So you are in a dreamland. It is a created one. Somebody else is writing code for that. You're getting the point. So basically, and it's very, very, very philosophical. If you see that movie, the basic premises to understand almost all Indian philosophers you will have. There is another movie. Now this I am telling you because whenever you get time, mostly full-time preparations, sometimes you feel like, okay, let's chill. Watch this movie. You can watch the movie called Ship of Theseus. Ship of Theseus. You must have heard about this. And this we will also discuss about Ship of Theseus later. Something called Sangatvad in Buddhism. Okay. So when we talk about pen, what is it? Is it pen and the refill and the nib and the cover? What is pen? Cap. If you remove cap and keep the pen here, which is the pen? Then we still think that, okay, this is the pen. So what is your conception of the pen? Is it utility point of view? It is form point of view. Utility point of view means something which writes is pen, or something which has this shape is pen, or something which has ink is pen. What is real, or this is called reductionism. You reduce everything, boil down to something to come to that logic. But my point is, because when the syllabus is being taught, or when we'll read the syllabus, this may sound like they are talking big things, but actually if you take example of each and everything, they are actually talking small things. What is what? And it starts with the basic question as to why, what, and how something works like that. This, and tell me how much it is different than the scientific thing. Same thing, isn't it? Scientific, whatever we have been taught. Okay, that's why philosophy, people have a misunderstanding of philosophy means they'll talk about God. No, those are the theistic people, religious people. What philosophers will do? They will not reject God also, they will not accept also, they will analyze God. Okay, what is the concept of your God? Like your concept of God. That's what the paper second will talk about, nothing else. So when I ask you, like for example, your own personal God, you might be believing in some God, you might be believing in some book, whichever way. Like I consider that Hanuman is the God, and there is some physical person, or somebody thinks that no, Shiva is the God, and Shiva is not the person, Shiva is this, that, whatever. Whatever you think, we are not going to be anti it, pro it. Okay, let us know, what do you think of God? So then everybody thinks, everybody has their own explanation. Like somebody says, simple, there are very broad things like everything is God. This board is also God. This plant is also God. This cheetah is also God. This dog is also God. You are also God. Elephant also God. Everything is God. This is also general perception. This is one famous broad model. Somebody says everything is not God. There is no God in the cup. Everything is created by God. Okay, no problem. Where is the God sitting then? Isn't it logical? So philosopher is the one who has highest logical stamina. जैसे आप मैराथन देखते हैं, they run 40 kilometers, some foot. What is the distance?
kilometer, 5 kilometer.
They are mini micro marathons. I'm talking about marathon. ये GS का क्वेश्चन हो सकता है. 42 point something kilometer something is there. Because they have their breathing or physical stamina to continue. You start running after, even if, like for example, you are good in your health, you're fit, okay, and everybody seems to be, I'm expecting everybody is fit. You can run 5 kilometers, 7, 8, 10, stretch yourself 10. What happens later on? You lose your stamina. Means what? Stamina is what? See, now again, this is what philosopher will do. Now, stamina, if I ask you, I will lose my stamina. What is stamina? How would you define stamina? What is it? Is it ability? Is it a quality? Is it a pronoun, adjective? What is stamina? It is a capacity to continue the adverse, painful, okay, situation for long. Now, there is something called logical stamina. Means, like for example, you might have heard this and you will face this and you will enjoy this, I'll tell you. Now, you start studying everything. We are yet to start anything of philosophy optional. I am just creating a ground where you understand as to why are we studying philosophy and where philosophy stands in present context, so that you understand what is being talked about and why it is being talked about. Otherwise, if you straight away jump, you will say, why they are talking about questions? God is not there, forget. And you will find this, especially your sociology friends, anthropology friends, opium of masses. And we have been doing it, no? All the faculties, sociology versus philosophy, वगैरह, we keep doing it. But it's good deliberations. So they were like, it is proven there is no God. Or you talk about somebody who is studying physics. Somebody is a fan of Newton. Though Newton was a religious person, that's another story. But Einstein also considered that there is some energy. If God, we don't know. But of late thinkers, they are like atheists. So point is, when you ask what happens, the person talks about like God, then you say that, okay, what do you mean by God? Okay, and this to some extent you will remember when again we will start paper 2, it's very similar to it. But this is very simple. Again, don't think about paper optional now. Just try to think. Because if you create this base, you create this, it's like clearing the ground, then you can keep things on it. Otherwise, if you keep things on the things already there, then they will collapse after some time. So when we say God, like, is God there? Do you believe in God? Like that. If somebody asks you, what should be your natural question? Think.
Depends on someone's experience.
Okay. Yes. Now, what kind of experience? Okay, I'll tell you. If I say sugar is sweet, do you agree? Why? Why do you agree? Have you asked me my experience? You might have experienced whatever you had. How are you saying that it is true? Now, when we see true, true means true for all. In all contexts, like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Can 2 plus 2 is equal to anything but 4? It is true. That is called objective truth. There is another word for this. We'll come to it. Analytic, synthetic. Sugar is sweet because almost everyone, almost, why? See, if it is almost, it is not certain then. As experienced it to be true. You are saying almost. That means she herself is saying that it is not true completely. Why? Ask somebody who is going through the corona. He or she will not feel any taste. How sugar is sweet then? No, you will say, no, no, she is in some corona thing. No, okay. But at least for that time, in that period, she is thinking, she is clearly experiencing that there is no, sugar is not sweet. But in that same case, she will still think that 2 plus 2 is equal to, why? What is the difference then? So basically, we'll come to it, like this is called synthetic statement, this is called analytic statement. Analytic is always true because true by its own meaning. When we say that all bachelors are unmarried, okay, if I say bachelors are unmarried and if I say Mahesh are unmarried, all Mahesh are unmarried, so it's not completely true. Some Mahesh are married, some are unmarried, but all bachelors are unmarried. Why? Because bachelor meaning itself is unmarried. Okay, but anyway, I'm just giving glimpse of what we are going to. So, what is God? Or question is, do you think there is God? Or if I ask you, do you think there is God? Gayatri is saying no. Okay. God is invisible reality. Okay. Everything is an opinion. And I'm not denying it. We are just having thought experiment. Now tell me, is there God was the question, right? If I ask you, is there L, is there Zong? Okay, Shivan is saying some energy. Okay, great. Is there Zong? What the question would be? If I ask you, is there Zong? What would you ask me? It's just that when we are in issue, we need someone to trust, to hope that everything. Yes, yes. Okay. Then yes, he's saying God can also be defined as liberated soul. Okay, that is in from one of the philosophies. Please have some questions. I'm just generating questions of which answers is nothing but many philosophers' philosophy. And then you will be like, okay, this is the speciality of philosophers. Even if you might not be very clear, okay, and you are like, okay, I'm not able to exactly come to that point, then later on what happens? Some Aristotle gives you answer, like very correct. Then somebody else will come, rationalists will come and Kant will come and criticize Aristotle, and you will say Kant is also correct. Why? That's the fun of it. Okay. Anyway, tell me, you gave answer to this question. Give answer to this question. What would be response to this question? Your response. I'm asking, is there Zong? Evil human mind can also be called Zong. How? What is Zong? Now, what would be your first reaction to this question? Your answer will be no. How? On what basis? What would be first reaction when I ask you, is there Zong? Or if I ask you, is there XOL? Or is there ATP? ATP तो है. No, never experienced. So Gayatri and Shibani, they are saying no, there is nothing called Zong or Zol or MX, whatever, because they have not experienced it. Have you experienced God then? You assumed God for your sake of solace. Have you experienced? Have you experienced Himalaya? Mostly, like for example, okay, have you experienced Kilimanjaro? Is it there? Why? You are not experienced. So what is the validity of truth? Your experience? Okay, let me make you some experience something. Okay, एक दो puff लगा दो, you will experience that you are in Swarg. For that time, are you in Swarg? Hallucinations, there are drugs. So experience is what? Can experience be a unfailing character of truth? See, I'm not asking answer. I'm just putting things so that many questions come to your mind. So basically, when you ask, is there Zom? The first question is, most logical person will ask, what do you mean by this? Then I'll tell you whether it is there or not. Maybe in some other language, Zom means God only. Like if I ask some foreigner who doesn't have any clue of Sanskrit, is there Brahm? Or is there Ganesha? Or is there Shiva? What would his or her reaction? What is Shiva? Yes or no? Any logic, any problem in understanding? Genuine question that is there, do you believe that Shiva exists? And the person will ask, Shiva, what is this Shiva? I don't know the word only. So basically, point is every word needs to have some conception, some reality. This is called picture theory of meaning that Wittgenstein gave. Now, what I'm trying to again communicate is whatever Wittgenstein gave is what we are, our questions only. The only thing is, are you sincere enough? Sincere doesn't mean morally sincere, intellectual integrity की बात कर. Are you sincere enough to ask most logical question and not assume anything? Like for example, when they answered that there is no Zom, they assumed that something that does not exist is what been asked here. Why? In some other language, some Korean language, Zom means rice. Is it there? Yes. Then basically, that's why the question that we discussed, if you see the paper 2 syllabus, notions of God means what? First, it's not about whether God exists, it's about what God, the word God is meant by. Explain first that. So whenever you somebody asks you a question, भाई आपको लगता है कि भगवान है? Do you think God is there? You will ask, what do you mean by God? Your concept of God first explain me. Is God pantheistic, panentheistic, monistic? What kind of God? Somebody created, like creator God, or God itself is creation? What God? Some energy? What is energy? What is energy? When you use the word energy, what is energy? So it means first we have to define the word exactly. So in the context of God, and when we want to define means we have to have conceptual as to what do you mean by God, then I'll tell you whether this meaning exists or not. Like for example, Mahesh is sitting here, I am also here. I am saying you God means that somebody who has big ears, long nose or trunk like an elephant. Does that exist? This is my conception of God. And Mahesh's conception is some kind of energy which runs everything. Don't you think both notions are different? Both using the same word like God. No, the response will be different. Yash's response or Shibani's response to you, to me, will be different. Maybe Shibani will not say, no, something elephant God is just an imagination. It's not there. Energy is there. So, point is, it depends on your notion of God, not God per se. So, you need to, but point is, then if it is all about notion, why? See, basically all the philosophy will talk about most of the abstract things. Like when we talk about death, what happens after death? Is there punarjanma? Is there soul? what do you mean by soul? Like for example, 5 minutes back we were discussing about some experience that you had, and then you put your brain into it. As to suddenly you start feeling warm and a little bit suffocated, you think that what happened? Oh, then you will inform me, sir, AC is I think not working. It started giving warm air. Ask someone to correct it. Okay, that's a practical thing. But what happened exactly? You experienced something and then you deployed your intellect. So intellect is one thing. It's a tool. Who experienced? You experience. Okay, who are you? Is that intellect only you? Because intellect is in brain, like brain functions. So the product is intellect. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Okay. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay. Anything divided by 0 is infinity. Okay, no problem. Okay, if it is water, I'll drink. If somebody is thirsty, sweating, okay, give him water because perhaps he is losing water, he is dehydrated. Okay. But what is me? Now, Yash is saying our senses. No? So that means, tell me, somebody, for some reason, you don't have your eyes. Okay. You are not able to smell anything. You are not able to taste anything. You are not able to hear anything for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And you are being injected something that you are not able to feel anything also. Do you think at that point of time, if this situation we can create, you are not existing? No, you are walking, you are going, then what is you then? Senses? For sure, senses are not you. Senses again are instruments for you to again gather something. If I lose my capacity to hear, does that mean I am not there now? There is no me here. I'm still there. So it is not reasoning. It's not senses. What else? What is me then? Who experienced that warmthness and then decided to deploy thinking, and then thinking actually asked, came with the conclusion that AC kharab hai. There, that is the reason. Yes. Now, I am not saying it is true. This is one of the way of thinking. Then person comes up with this called soul. Maybe someone who experience everything is soul. So it becomes very consistent philosophy then. How? There is something called soul, which has hands. Hand is not soul. Like I have wallet, I have money, I have bank balance. I can use it, not use it. I have kurta, I have pant, jeans, I can wear it, not wear it. Okay, I can wear something else. I have specs. So these are my possessions. Okay, but what is I? Okay, I is not possession, I is the possessor. Right? So I is best way to kind of solve this dilemma is, okay, I means there is some inherent entity called soul, Atma, which possesses it and discards it. So discarding is death, possessing and acquiring is birth and life. Simple. Where does this Atma go? It goes somewhere and comes back. Because if it is going somewhere means it is not going to destroy, because it is undestroyable. Because it is assumed to be destroyable, then it cannot be Atma. Then it becomes part of body only. So where does the Atma go? Where does the soul go? These are the questions. So becomes very consistent in one aspect. After some time, it's not able to manage the questions. Because then what is the nature? Is it in the nature of some electric current, or in the nature of some small seed kind of, sprout kind of physical thing? What is it? What is Atma? Or it is just a, as Charvak will say, just an epiphenomena. Means you put things together, something new will pop up. Like if you take a betel nut, pan, you put some 2-3 things together, nothing is red. Pan becomes red. Why? Because this redness is an epiphenomena. That's what example they gave. Charvak. We'll see it tomorrow. Charvak lecture. So point is, again, what we were discussing is all the things philosopher will never take things as granted. Now, till what time you can ask questions? Like कितना पूछेंगे? कहीं ना कहीं practical life. For practical life, absolutely nobody is asking you to question that chair is not there or is there. Just chair is there, sit on it. But when you actually want to think, what do thinkers do? What do scientists are doing? What are scientists are doing? Like for example, tell me, is Earth flat or round? Round. Is Earth stationary or moving? Revolving and moving? Now tell me these three facts, that Earth is not flat but round, Earth is revolving and Earth is moving. Okay, rotating and revolving. What it has to do with our practical life? Tell me. Nothing. Should we start considering Earth as not flat? Then we cannot have the planning of anything, river planning, building. You cannot have. You have to assume that it is actually for all practical purposes. For all practical purposes, Earth is what? Flat. Earth is like round. Who told you? Scientists tell. Okay, what is the need for them to do it? Quest to know. Basically, what happened? Some other questions were generated in their mind, which were not being able to be solved by assuming that Earth is flat. Now, how Earth is flat? For all practical purposes, like this is a small circle. You might know this. Like this is for our imagination. Earth is not this, right? Earth is very, 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 very big. So when you draw bigger circle like this, and perhaps bigger than that, what happens? Like for example, very big circle on this, like this circle will be, now bigger circle will be like this. Here, what we do, we'll draw like this. Now, very big circle is like this, right? Now, very big. If you make it bigger, now this much only big if you kind of draw, and just consider this much. Isn't it flat? For all practical purposes, can there be home here? Yes. And it is bigger than that. Actually, that's why it is almost flat. So, point what I was saying is, for all practical purposes, we will continue our life as if it is flat only, knowing fully well that it is round. Please try to understand, this is very important, and this is going to be very helpful for you as to why are you thinking philosophy. If somebody asks you, everybody knows that Earth is round. Okay, again about movement. Even if there is gravitation and it is pulling us strongly, everything, but still it is moving. Have you experienced how it is to sit on something moving, some moving object? Difficult. But here gravity is taking care of it as if it is very stationary. So much stationary that even if you know that it is moving, you will never feel that it is moving. But truth is truth. So basically, whatever might be situation for the practical purposes, we will go with it for practical life. When it comes to philosophical questions, be philosophical and keep, because otherwise practical life will become difficult. So when Berkeley says that chair is not there, chair is in my mind, he is not saying that you cannot sit on the chair, you will fall. He himself will sit on the chair and will tell you, chair is not does not exist. It is existing in my mind only. He is talking from a different point of view. Please try to understand the point of view. In the same way, when who said Earth is not flat? Copernicus, no, Copernicus said that, Galileo said, I guess. Copernicus said that it revolves around the sun, not other way around. So, but for all practical purposes, who revolves around us? Sun. सुबह आता है, शाम को चला जाता है. So, it's not we who are revolving. In fact, even if, as I told you again, I'm telling you, even if we know it, it has nothing to do with our practical life, unless you want to send some satellite. There, these questions becomes important. In the same way, for philosophy also, some question becomes important in particular aspects. There, you apply those logics only. Come back, apply simple logic. And so that's the reason, and that's the best way to understand any philosophy. Are you with me? I would like to know, Shibani, Yash, Gayatri, is it making sense to you as to what philosophy is? Okay. And obviously, we'll come back to how to get 300 plus. See, but point is, it starts with knowledge. It starts with that perspective, then comes syllabus, then comes revision and things like that. That will go on doing it. Yes, very good. Yash and kind of encapsulated it in a good way, that it is a logical inquiry. Yes, it is continuous inquiry. So, how much depth is called philosophy? There is no depth, end. There is no end. You just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it. More and more things will come up. Now, and all this is happening because we have something called some faculty, human faculty called reason. Everybody accepts this, which is inherent to human, and we'll come to it how it affects the morality and things like that. Some philosophers are so interesting, I can guarantee you, you will really enjoy knowing what they have said and the words and the wordings. And because anybody in future asks you, will be like in a better position to explain what it is. And always remember, thumb rule, whenever you study a philosopher, in our syllabus, in fact, always during understanding the philosopher, you have to become his bhakt. Whatever he is saying, why bhakt, tell me? Why not question the philosopher? Number one, perhaps we may not have the wherewithal, tools, you, me, to question. And second, it has been established philosophy, See, those times he has been questioned by thousands before establishing the philosophy. Like, I'll give you an example, simple example. When you study paper 4, you might have seen that there are some case studies. In the case studies, for example, there is a case study that Ramesh is your friend. He is very sincere, hardworking, efficient, transparent, objective, rational, civil servant. Would you doubt that while writing answer? Case study is giving this information to you. And this Ramesh fall into this problem and you tell what should Ramesh do. Would you question the case study itself? That no, how come Ramesh is efficient also? That's the fact. Point is, you don't question philosopher from your own personal point of view. You question to understand him. Like there are two types of questions, no? One question is to know, other question is to allege. So we ask to know. Why? Because there is subsequent philosopher will come and criticize. You don't need to worry about it. And then when you are studying subsequent later philosopher, you become bhakt of this philosopher. For example, if you are studying Plato, just take every word of Plato till the end. Then don't worry, Aristotle will come and question Plato. Okay. Then rationalist, empiricist, especially empiricist will come and question Aristotle. Kant will come and question empiricist, rationalist, Aristotle, Plato, everyone. Shankaracharya will come, counter Buddha. Jainism will come, will counter Charvak. Charvak will come, or counter Vedanta. And that's all we write in question paper also. Whenever there is question asked, you introduce the question, then you write main body generally some thinker. Then we write criticism, and then we write conclusion. That's all. What we are doing is, we are kind of gathering insights for these things. And if you do this, but point is, questions are not straightforward every time. Explain theory of ideas by Plato, not every time like that. They will ask, the theory of ideas or idea of good given by Plato is static in nature, whereas the idea of actus purus given by Aristotle is dynamic in nature. Comment. So here first step is to understand what theory of ideas is. Then second, to understand what actus purus of Aristotle is, and then understand how they are connected to each other. And then this everything should happen in 1 minute. It happens. Once you practice, it happens. And then you write. Okay. Any question till now? Because I have been continuously speaking. Or yeah. So something Gayatri had asked in the initial. First or second question. Sir, could you tell us how can we make our schedule after the class so that there is better retention? Okay. So I think, yeah, you got a hang of what philosophy is. You're getting it. Now, in this same context, again, we'll this question, in case I forget, again you ask. There is, I think, some more we'll discuss, and again come. This is very important question, because I was anyway able to discuss as to how you are going to be with us. Okay? Because for staying with me, in the sense studying with me, is very philosophy. Okay, sir, in philosophy of current related options, no, they don't. No, I'll tell you how. Okay, good that you asked that question also. They don't ask current affairs questions per se, but there is this paper 2, you might have heard. For any optional, paper 1 is theoretical, paper 2 is applied. Yes, little bit applied, but they also have their own theories. But some questions may come, like for example, we were discussing, there is this concept of philosophy of religion. So they will ask how monotheistic religion work, और religious pluralism, एक साथ बहुत सारे religion आराम से रहना, और multiculturalism is a most crucial aspect in current Indian society, they may ask. But again, it is not current affairs as in factual information, statistical data that we think of when we think of GS 2-3 and 4 also to some extent. So your question that whether it will be current affairs, it won't be. It would be, in fact, that current affairs we would have been already discussed in the class. Because when we discuss, like for example, if we are discussing about God already, I already mentioned that, oh, see what is the scenario outside. So how important it is to understand what Marx said, how important it is to have religious pluralism. This is one of the topics. Have you seen religious pluralism and problem of absolute truth? What is it? This is exactly what is God 1, 2, 3, many. So if I ask you, so in that context, if you think that much to that extent, you need to have some help from current affairs, but not current affairs as in current affairs notes, current happenings, and that you are anyway, what we can say, anyway aware of. And because you are already aware from a philosophical point of view, because you compare, okay, whatever Mr. Anselm said, Saint Anselm said, or whatever Shankaracharya said is correct. Ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti means truth is one, learned call them with many names. Honorable Prime Minister is also mentioning this in some outside country also. It's a pride thing. So something, oh, so he mentions that there might be questions straight away. Explain. This is exactly syllabus point from this chapter called Religious Pluralism and Absolute Truth. To that extent, it is linked. But no need to take botheration the way we have to take it in GS 2 and 3. You have to collect something to use it. That is not required. Sir, in paper 2, can we just quote examples like Islamic fundamentalism? Yes, we can, but better rather than Islamic fundamentalism, like religious fundamentalism. Because religious fundamentalism is there in all the religions. It is sharper in Abrahamic religions, sharper in organized religions. Religion, there are two categories: evolutionary or naturalistic religions, and second is command-based Abrahamic religions. Judaism, Christianity, Islam, these are commandment type religions. Okay, we'll come to it. Okay, so chain of thoughts ये हो गया. What we were discussing about? Philosophy? No. Current affairs related हो गया. The another question was schedule, that I'll come back to. Don't worry. But I was discussing. Yeah, question paper and that. Okay, that's okay. I'm saying. Yeah, I think I myself had asked any question if you have tell me types, right? So that's why they started asking questions. Syllabus, briefly. We have paper 1 very briefly, because I think that day also I explained in the orientation. But here we will do it like now, as if it is. Yeah. So now I got it. So they have put it Western here, then Indian, then socio-political and religion. So please try to understand the connection. Here, what they will talk about, the thinker. Now that day also we discussed in the orientation lecture. Now when we talk about philosophy, we are talking about metaphysics and epistemology of that person. You know what is metaphysics? You know what is epistemology? If I say, like if I am a thinker and say, for me this chair doesn't exist, I'll explain. Okay, chair is nothing but this small plastic, what we can say, dust put together in one form. This is chair for me. Actually chair is just a form. Okay, chair doesn't, actual chair, there is nothing called chair which is absolutely existing. There is nothing like that. What are we talking about? Metaphysics. Right? Now you will ask, okay, how do you say that? How do you know? What is the process of knowledge? Okay, it's yes. So it comes to my eyes, it goes to my mind, things like that, and my mind think on it. Okay, and nothing can be known if it is not perceived by senses. Nothing can be, it can be imagined, but without perception there is no knowledge. This is all called epistemology. So epistemology is, yes. Now these two words are very important, keep on repeating, and most of in questions also, most of the time they have asked this question, use these terms. Metaphysical understanding of Plato depends on his epistemological propositions or epistemological explanation. So what happens? Basically his theory of reality depends on his theory of knowledge. Obviously, no. If my chashma is brown, I will see everything brown. If it is pink, I'll see everything pink. If I remove everything, I will see everything as it is. Now that as it is also depends on the color of my mind. If that is prejudices. That's another story. So when we discuss about, if my binocular Durbin can see red and white color, so I can only see things with red and white color. Green color will miss, and I'll say that there is nothing. But when somebody with a red, white and green color capacity will tell you, no, there is some green thing also. So your epistemology decides your metaphysics, and your metaphysics decides your epistemological explanation also. इसमें कोई डाउट आ रहा है नहीं? तो वेस्टर्न इंडियन सोशोपॉलिटिकल रिलीजन बेसिकली क्या है इसमें? इसमें एंशियंट से लेके medieval, modern and post-modern. Ancient means Plato, Aristotle. Medieval means rationalist, empiricist, Kant, Hegel. Modern means then Moore, Wittgenstein, Russell वगैरह. These are like 19th, 20th century. And post-modern, modern means this rationalist, empiricist, because the concept of modernism only started with these fellows. Because this Descartes, then Leibniz, they are especially Descartes is of the time of Enlightenment era or slightly before Enlightenment era. World history may you might be studying Enlightenment era. So he was a mathematician. So from him, then others, logical positivists will come here in postmodern. Medieval philosophers, we don't call them medieval per se, they're like modern only. So logical philosophers, logical positivists, things like that will come, and with end with somebody called Quine and Strawson, slightly different philosophers. Oh, there is existentialist, like very recent philosophers, like 1960 and 1970 type philosophers. Jean-Paul Sartre, who got Nobel, Soren Kierkegaard, Martin Heidegger, then phenomenologist called Husserl, and there is a proper pattern. Like initial philosophy is very, you can say, simplistic and poetic in nature, like our Vedas are. Vedas, what we call the unit of Vedas, like what is Vedas full of? Uktis, what is called Veda songs, Vedic songs, hymns, Vedic hymns we call, right? Not laws. As it goes to Upanishads and others, and then Shankaracharya is proper philosophy. Like that, it simplistic, very poetic kind of philosophy, then later on little more developed, little more nuanced. Then Kant will come, he will give much more nuance. Then what happens after Hegel? Different kind of philosophy started. All the philosophy after that started as question to the previous philosophy. No, because scientific revolution happened. So everybody is like, this is all bullshit, this is wrong, this is not wrong, right? So everybody started questioning. So ordinary language philosophers, linguistic philosophers. Now this thing, what we did, God, Zong, this is exactly how linguistic philosopher will say. What do you mean by is? What do you mean by there? What do you mean by this statement? Where? Is there God? Where? Here, there, where? So he will ask each and every statement, proposition, and try to finalize it before answering it. So linguistic philosophers. Then comes radical empiricists, because they are very much based on logical positivism. That is scientific philosopher. Then in the same way, Indian. Now syllabus wise we start with Charvak, but Charvak is there all across, because Charvak is not a one philosophy sitting. Is like questioning all. This is bakwas. This is bakwas. I'll criticize you, criticize you, criticize you, criticize you. Okay, this is my philosophy. So, but it's very much significant, because then, because of Charvak, what happened? The Indian society was somewhere saved from being very dogmatic. Like, this is the only reality, too much puritanical, practical life is useless, dharma, artha, kam, moksha, right? Artha and kam is completely neglected by Buddha, Jaina, Shankaracharya, everybody. Like, artha and kam, don't get into this pleasures of life, and no need to have money. What is what is left? Basically moksha. Because if there is no pleasure and the money, that means you are not in worldly affairs. If you are not in worldly affairs, there is no morality also. Dharma is also not required. Only moksha is the reality. Charvak said, no, moksha is all useless. Unless moksha is made useless, dharma, artha, kam doesn't make sense. Then somebody came and he reconciled. No, there is something called dharma, artha, kam, moksha. Subsequent to this, there is something called Brahmacharya ashram, then Grihastha ashram, then Vanaprastha ashram, Sannyas ashram. So what the person does, okay, no need to see one person, no need to reject any of the four purusharthas. At different level of life, you can have different purusharthas. So dharma means morality and law, both. Basically, understanding things, reason. When it is important, brahmacharya, learn. Don't get into earth and calm. Don't get into money and pleasures of life. It's not time. It's time to study. Then that's why it's called brahmacharya. Basically, brahmacharya has nothing to do with celibacy. Brahmacharya is acharan according to the Brahma. Anyway, that will come. Then earth, we have to have family. We have to earn. Then if inside the family system, there will be pains and pleasures. Calm means both, pains and pleasures. And then come moksha. Moksha is ultimate reality. So everything in this life you have done, then you go for the moksha, right? Anyway, so dharma, arth, kam, moksha, bondage, liberation, atma, paramatma. These are the questions West Indian philosophy will discuss more. Rebirth, yes, theory of causation is very central to Indian philosophy as to cause and effect. What is cause? What is effect? Like if you put lemon into the milk, it will be spoiled or it will make paneer. So the cause of paneer is milk along with lemon. So milk and lemon, effect is paneer. Like that. So cause and effect. Okay. So that we'll have Charvak. Then we'll have Jainism, Buddhism, Nyaya Vaisheshik, Sankhya Yoga, Mimamsa Vedanta. These three are always together. These six put together are called, anybody? This is a prelims question. No, orthodox. Will come to Indian also. And Aurobindo. These are called Shadadarshan. Shada means six. Shadadarshana. This can be prelims question. Okay. Sometimes this question they will ask. And then Aurobindo is very recent philosopher, you know. Maharshi Aurobindo is the same person who was in Abhinav Bharat. His name is Aurobindo Ghosh. Later on, he only became Maharshi Aurobindo, who is a philosopher for us. Okay. Anushilan Samiti and all. The paper one you must have read. Then comes sociopolitics. So this is Indian. And we'll discuss. And actually they'll talk about same. You know, their metaphysics, their epistemology, bondage, liberation of God, theory of causation. Everybody has their version of theory of causation, different versions. Socio-political is very close to what you in your GS and things like justice, liberty, equality, okay, then sovereignty, socialism, Marxism, anarchism, democracy, monarchy, basic of everything. Only thing is they will ask very basic questions and like based on very basic concepts there, because if you ask any sociology or pol science person, he will take you to the another level because that is the whole syllabus for him. For us, this is like simple. If you have understanding of philosophical way of thinking, you no need to understand somebody's philosophy as it is, but because after reading and after understanding the way they think, if you kind of inculcate that habit of thinking, way of thinking, and you apply those things to the society, what comes out is socio-political philosophy. So everything has to be, you know, in depth understood. Everything has to be pursued to understand the details of it is what will come here. Same is the case with religion. What will happen? Basically, what you will do, you will take God in the center and then do all the processing there. Okay, God and religion basically. So there also, then see, I'm talking from the point of view of understanding this syllabus. When it comes to marks and all that, see, when we study, we are doing it with respect to marks only, because you know this is the notes, you revise this like that. But basic understanding, is very, very important to start that aspect or that plane, that that episode for that matter. Marks will, if he revised 20 times, no, I'll tell you. Anyway, now I'll tell you, because see, if you revise 20 times and if you write answers last 10 years, PYQs, nobody can stop you from getting the mark. That's all. Now, what to revise? Literally, you can boil down to number of pages. Like these 500 pages total, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm saying, like paper 1, paper 2, these 500 pages, 400 pages, if I revise 20 times, and if I write in whole year, like almost a year now, more than that, and write answer for last 10 years, I can guarantee you that nobody can, like you yourself will be thorough. It's not some God-given thing. Because you have put so much logic and so much of efforts into it, nobody can stop. But the point is, this takes time. For that, you need a lot of pushing, I know, because I have been doing it. So that's the reason we start as early as possible writing like that. Okay. So we'll come to this again. So broadly, that's how it goes. So we start with Indian because it's very straightforward and easy for us culturally also to understand. Then obviously Western. So, and then you can compare many fellows there. Then again we'll start with religion first, because again this is, sometimes it happens that most of the people who take philosophy only sheerly out of interest, merely out of interest, want to actually study this, the first chapter, God and things like that. But that's why we'll start with this, and then there is philosophy behind this. Now here, very much chance that you get into the trap of habitual thinking of paper 2 of GS. No, it seems like one, but we have to think in a different way. Like in paper 2, what do you see? Preamble talks about justice, so justice is great. That's all. Article 19, Article 17. Here, what is justice? How would you define it? How do you explain it? When can it be called that it is justice? It is not justice. Or how would you define equality? Would treating everyone as exactly equal is equality? Treating equals, unequals, that is equality? What is equality? So it's very interesting if you see, but that is because you have acquired the way of thinking, you have an appreciation of that way of thinking, like that, right? Okay, any question here broadly? So we will start with this around one month and one more week. This take 1.5 months. So this itself put together takes 3 months, 3.5 types. Not 3, less than 3. And then these two will put together take 1.5 months. So this is 4 months more than enough. Thick. Any question here? Now we will try to discuss the question that Gayatri has asked about how we will go about it. So there is no, okay, sir, there is no PYQP model answers. Why? Aren't you getting model answers on Telegram? I am only putting. Only thing is, it's not, because I am also taking time for me to come. Nobody has done it, no. So it takes time. So I have, and I have coupled it with the people who are writing emails now, especially they are also writing. It will come, no, in coming 5-6 months. As see, before you finish your foundation, at least paper 1 will be in the compiled problem. It is with you with model answer. Just imagine, it will be there. You want model answers or you want just compilation of questions? If you want compilation of questions, that will give. That I think you had asked me before also. So that will give. That is topic wise previous year questions, not model answers. That will give. But model answers per se, it will take time. But we are doing effort for that. And that too, we are keeping it available to everyone. What at the max, what we have to do? Put all the PDFs together, becomes one PDF, it becomes one. Okay. But now try to understand the philosophies. See, what happens, no? Like for example, if you want to know, if you want to be a good batsman, and you don't know anything much, you just have this desire, you had this plan. So does that make how much sense it will make for you without knowing how to hold bat? Without knowing that how to hold the bat, you want to have meeting with Dhoni. Why would he give that meeting, and what would happen? What would you get? Nothing. So initially, try to understand each and every concept. Try to solve. Like for example, I'll tell you the initial questions that I will be asking in the class, in the sectional test on the perhaps on the Sunday, Monday. Mostly we are keeping Sunday and Monday off, and we are starting with Tuesday. That's the model now, 90% fixed. For sure, there won't be class on Monday. Now there is discussion, either it should be Monday, Tuesday or Sunday, Monday. So weekly there will be tests. Again, those questions also, I will only kind of generate those questions. So those questions are very questions where you can write something. I don't want to just bombard you, write PYQ now. It doesn't make sense, because those questions are very slightly more advanced. Some questions are straightforward. So how first, now we'll in rest of 45 minutes, around 1 hour, what we'll do is two things. One, briefly I'll tell you how we are going to go forward with the course and what is your responsibility. Second, we'll briefly again see what Indian philosophy means, like technically some terms, just before starting tomorrow we are doing it. Okay. And any other question you have, obviously you can ask. So this course will continue till November end, around approximately November end, because 100 lectures. That's okay. That is my headache. You don't need to much bother about it. What is your role? See. Now assume karo from Tuesday to right 5 days. Then we have Sunday and Monday. This obviously I am not going to repeat because there is no point. You will go anyway follow it. So basically now is your lecture time, right? So why don't you just write? So, and this is from your point of view, not my point of view. So 3 hours you have to give for lectures, right? Any doubt? Then what happens? Anytime in the day, you have to again give 3 hours for revision. 3 hours, any 3 hours. And I would like to know if you are in agreement with this. Any question, any doubt, any challenge, let me know. These two things, okay, these two things are what is this? Anybody? These two things is going to be this. I'm just testing my drawing skills. Two sides of the same coin. Okay. So basically, very good, Gayatri. So two sides of the same coin. This is just whether I am able to draw this as a coin. Anyway, if this is not happening, this will be of not much use. Okay, this maybe I would request you, if you have some notebook dedicated to this, on the first page, this is the notebook, on this side, please draw this or do something about it in the form of notes, like, because this is very difficult to follow when it actually starts. So every time in between, sometimes you need push. So for without these 3 hours, these 3 hours are, but if you do this, this is as good as straightforward your fourth reading. Why? Because when you do 3 hours class, why do you do class? You can just read the book and write. No, you're doing class and you'll realize it. Those who would have started writing, I think you called me long back. I had told you read this. You might have tried your hand, whatever. You will understand the difference. So sitting lecture sincerely is as good as 3 readings, 3 revisions for that matter. 3 readings, 3 revisions. We have to have 20 readings, right? Till actually mains thing. So this is fourth on the same day. So if you are doing now, from now to November, 6 hours for philosophy. Any doubt? Anybody having this issue with this? Like somebody is working, let me know, we'll talk later personally, like how to manage this. So you need to understand, you people are engineers or doctor or non-philosophy graduates. Somebody who has given 3 years BA philosophy. So we have to do it faster, right? How would you do it in 4 months then? If you have to do the 3 years job in 3 months, basically, metaphorically speaking, 3 months, it takes time. It has to be given a lot of time, right? So, but good thing is it's very limited syllabus, so there is no issue. One thing is very clear. There is boundary fix. Nothing beyond this will come. There are points fixed. If you read again and again and again, then situation come where you can comfortably say that मैंने रट लिया है. मेरा तो philosophy रट गया. You know, I mugged it up. But it's not that I did it. It is a byproduct of your repetitive readings. And every reading should be for better understanding. Okay, let me understand more nuanced here. Let me understand further more nuanced here. And you realize one day that everything I'm able, even terms as it is, I'm able to remember. No need to mug it up like that. That is not going to help you. It gets mugged up if you read 20 times. Right? Now 20 till next means. So we have 1 year. So of that, fourth will be like Charvaka's fourth reading will be on 27th of July only. Half. And the Charvaka's day second, 28. So basically the whole of Charvak is, you can consider that to be read 4 times by you day after tomorrow evening. Then here there will be a 10-minute question for you on Charvak. So don't postpone. Unless you read this, you cannot write the question. Then we'll see. Now this is, I am just giving example. It might shift here and there a little bit. Jaina, lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3. Maybe what I will also do is, here there will be again one 10-minute question on some aspect that is covered here. May not be this, but this. And then there will be sectional test. No, sorry. There is mini test or weekly test, whatever you. Weekly test is better name. Weekly test. Last batch we used to call it mini test. Only 5 questions. On the basis, questions on what? Charvak and Jain, whole syllabus. And you are expected to actually write this test on Monday evening. It will be on from Monday morning. So you have whole day and half day Monday to revise everything. This will be how much, what number reading? So you read Charvak 5 times, Jainism 5 times. Is it difficult to reach 20 then? Then in the same way, we'll start with Sankhya, Yoga, like that. Then once after 1 month, everything is over. Again for sectional test, I'll give at least 3, 4, 5 days. Maybe 1 week will not have lectures. But we'll have sectional test of whole Indian paper, 125 marks, not 250, 125 marks. Again, the whole syllabus is read by you how many times? 6 times. Right? Then what happens? At least this is only you have to read to be with me. It is expected that you read yourself, maybe like for example, that 7 days you read 2 times. So 6, 7 times you finish, but मान के चलो 6 times. Then you keep on doing it. In the end of like November, we'll have the total paper 1, paper 2, 1 test. So at least you read it 7 times. So by November, out of 20, 7 to 8 times you already read. Then in June you come back for the booster class. We'll sit here and revise through pre-YQs. We don't revise point wise, we just see question like that. That itself is 8th, 9th reading. And from there, what is your, now what work you have? Just revise it. Rest 10 revisions is after prelims. And it is once you've read so many times, literally in 1 day, you can revise both Charvak and Jainism. If you can revise it here, you can revise then also. So by the end of June only, you're finished with your 12th reading, 12th revision. So you still have 3 months, and after that your revision takes literally 1 day. You can have 3, 4, 5 philosophers, because till that time you have read it so many times. So 20 becomes smaller number then. But this is the planned thing. To be fair psychological to yourself, to be not so harsh to yourself, even if you reach 18 is also okay. But if you really want to kind of book a seat there, 300 plus, keep in mind 20. And is it difficult? Tell me, is it what I'm telling you? I would like to know from, I would like everybody to type something in response to my appeal, that is it difficult practically? I am asking you to give 6 hours per day, including 3 hours lectures. Is it difficult? I will let you know what book. We'll also get the notes. The moment the day that thinker is over, you will get the notes. Obviously, you have to read. This time I'll try to give you notes before only, so that you can read on the same day. You go back and read in the notes. But generally, this is the book. Okay? Datta and Chatterjee for Indian philosophy. Huh? Edition, but the same thing. That is not changed much. It's just color, the front page is changed, but same thing. Literally same thing, because last time also it happened. People have doubts. That's not an issue. It's an obvious doubt, because sometimes different covers, same thinker might have written something else. What you will have is a better corrected kind of version. This is 2009 version, because when I was preparing. Okay. Oh, and version in the sense, yes, this is what is exactly everybody is using. Give me this so that I can show to others also. So this is the book for Indian. Tomorrow onwards, please read this book. Even if I am honestly, like myself, kind of requesting you, even if you have notes, yes, you will read the notes. Okay, but you read the book first and then go to the notes. Okay, so basically we were discussing about how we are going to take it forward, and that's very important, about our course and your revisions, and how to reach this 20 revisions, how to have many maximum answer writing, so that ultimately no, we just don't want to finish things, no? So that we can reach this magical number, right? So, yeah. So we were discussing about how we are going to take it forward and what is your responsibility, as in like how you can take maximum out of it. So we said mostly what we are going to do is like that. Then we talked about lecture yes, right? No lecture there. And then revision. See, for you, because you need to understand one thing. I know there would be so many other things also you would be thinking of doing, you will be involved into, you have to finish. I understand all that, especially GS and other stuff, whatever. But always try to kind of understand this, that like considering the present schedule of UPSC, November till November is the time for option. And so, as we discussed, we'll be around finishing at least 10 times, 8 to 10 times before you are starting for your prelims, right? So, why we are discussing about this basically is when you are studying this, then as we discussed, once the thinker is over, there will be some at least here and here. There will be one. No, this is 10 minutes. Now, that is basically when we finish one, the next day before starting the new, will this thing. So, you revise here at home on the same day, very, very important. Then, and Saturday you have full day, and then you will get, this is the weekly test, only 5 to 6 questions. That is just for 50 marker, 100 marker, 10 questions, it depends on the syllabus, how much we have been able to cover, right? So, this particular thing is very, very important because this will continue till around November end, right? So, you also need to plan whatever it is you want to plan, you have to plan now only. Like this 6 hours per day, you have to. Okay. In these 3 hours, these 3 hours will be more than enough to kind of revise everything that has been taught in these 3 hours, right? Is it any difficult, especially at least those who are doing it full time? Somebody is involved in something else, we can discuss it later. Normally, everybody that come to the foundations are generally full timers, so that's why I'm telling you. If anybody is having some other plans, let me know that. I'll personally tell how to go ahead about it, right? Then briefly, that you already know, we'll be having booster course of around 20 lectures, 15 days, 15 lectures, but 15 to 20 it vary, and followed by test series in that times. So the only thing that you have to do is what? Attend lectures, ask questions, be attentive obviously, then revise on the same day, then write whenever. In fact, I'm telling you more than this now till November, more than whatever I tell you, even if you don't write more than that, is also more than sufficient, because what I'm going to push you for itself is too much, but it is planned, it's not bombardment, right? And that is the reason. Otherwise, we can finish it in 3 months. I can take 6 days a week and no test, nothing. Immediately after that, 1 week, 3 thinkers finished, and then again 3 thinkers. So by the time you realize first thinker, the 8th thinker is standing in front of you. So I don't want to do that. That's why the 2 days, and that's why it is little spread over. So this spreading over is basically for what? Now, why I'm telling this? Because some students have this doubt, you know, like for example, they compare with other optionals, like some other optional like sociology or other things, they have like 130 lectures, 140 lectures, and they continue for 5 months. So if there are only 100 or less than 100 lectures, why are we continuing for 4 months? Because philosophy is all about understanding. Once you understand it, once you take it forward, like if you start, and philosophy is, see, philosophy is more like, it's not gathering like current affairs. Philosophy is not gathering, it is building. So you get something, okay, and you put it here, some insight, some knowledge. Okay, then second, you'll put here. Then third, only these two have already been there in proper place. Then third will be here. Like that you build. You don't just gather, like you put everything into the jhola. That doesn't work here. Otherwise, what will happen? It happens with many. I don't know whether you are able to understand the analogy that I'm trying to communicate. Because see, being a philosophy thing, I talk like this only. Like everything, I have an example of something that we do. So if you keep on collecting, later on what happens, you know that you have read it, you remember that something like that but you are not able to connect it to anything. And second, unless it is properly arranged, it won't be stable. Like for example, again, one example I'll give you. I, imagine that I am going to give you around 500 books in coming 500 days. Okay, irrespective of topic, like it might be chemistry book, biology book, whichever. It can be art and culture, whatever. Okay, microbiology, biotechnology, whatever. And I'm giving you daily one book. After 500 days, you have to retrieve the books. Like suddenly I will ask you, get me this book. How much time it should take? Not more than 2 minutes. How it is possible? Unless everything that is being given to you, you align it to your prior understanding. So now you know where it is kept. Now that's what librarians do, the training. But this is for thought. And it is philosophy, the speciality is everything is linked. Nothing is, like you have to remember just like that because there is no point. No, everything has a logic to it. And I am pretty sure, yeah, connecting the dots and keeping the things. I am pretty sure that if you understand the importance of these things and if you follow these things, you can just be relaxed. If these 6 hours are dedicated to it, rest you can do whatever you want to do. These 6 hours are not going to go anywhere. This philosophy is not going to go anywhere from you. And obviously I'm there for you if any, because it won't be that smooth. It's just thought process is always smooth, reality is always upper niche, but still you will reach there. And as I told you, 20 readings, even 18 is okay, 17 is okay. Obviously 5-6 reading won't work much, then again you will be like 220, 210. It's all up to us. That is the good thing about it. Like Indian philosophy, law of karma. You know what is law of karma? You do good, good things will happen. If you do bad, bad things will happen. Now these good things and bad things, not just morally, it is also spiritually. That is, if you intake something, like if you take bad food, stomach is going to go bad. If you take fruits, it will be smooth. So it depends on you, what you want to have. Now under the influence of tongue, if you're going to eat something roadside, stomach is going to go create problem for you. Same is the case with life. That's what spirituality is. That's what Indian philosophy is all about. That if you take good thoughts, good things will automatically come to your mind. That's what Buddha said. As you think, so you are. So the way you think is what you are. And here there are many other methods and things when it comes to spirituality. Okay. So do you have any imaginable hurdle that you can imagine now that can take you to 300? Think, seriously think. I'm not asking as a rhetoric question. If it is, then we can discuss it, because see, if some clarity is always the reason for confidence. Always remember in life and UPSC preparation for anything else. So if you feel that you lack confidence, be sure it's not about confidence, it's not about that topic, it's not about you, it's about clarity. So more clarity, more confidence. You can write it as your motto in life and UPSC also. So any topic you're finding like geography, oceanography, or science or whatever, science and tech, you feel that no, I'm not confident about it. That is because you don't have clarity. So try to bring in clarity by reading more about it. Only hurdle will be ourselves, perhaps, that you're not able to get up in the morning and come to the class 9 o'clock. Maybe you're not able to do this 3 hours. I'm just telling you 3 hours. And we have to raise the voice, raise the pitch slowly. After prelims is over, 28th May, right? After prelims is over, when you will be kind of knowing fully well that I'm 120 plus GS, and CSET is also no issue. Nowadays, CSET is also becoming issue. You will be getting so much of work from my side also, because booster course and followed by test series, that you yourself will be in a way tired, but that tiredness can be reduced if you have things read so many 10 times before November, because December you have to start for prelims. December, January, at least January you have to start for prelims, like that. And apart from this, you might ask, now this 6 hours, like we are doing philosophy, what about GS? The rest of the time is yours for GS only. You read whatever you plan, that you talk to your concerned person or teacher, mentor, jo bhi hai. You can talk to me personally also, but 6 hours I can tell you like a blanket, everybody. Maybe 2 hours for you can do it for current affairs or conventional GS, whichever way. But this 3 hours lecture, 3 hours this thing, right? 6 hours into 100 plus so many tests, philosophy is over. You no need to worry about how do I do the philosophy. Okay, one more thing you might be thinking is about material, right? So there are books we already know, clear-cut books, like start to end, barring few very few variations that you might not find that particular aspect in the book. Book is just to have a hang of it, because book is still it's a very, when you are reading it first time, second time, it has to be slow. Though our lecture itself will be more than enough, and lectures are also based on the obviously authoritative books, not some other notes. Obviously, I myself have been reading those books. I have my own notes which you will be getting. That book, Datta Chatterjee, why must see? O.P. Koba, why must see? Some additional books for contemporary here and there that I'll tell you, right? That are only selective parts. That would be mostly in the notes only. So just think, you have this much notes. You have to read it 10 times before November. Why it is impossible? You do all the underlying everything, it will be actually mugged up. See, after selection, everybody will say that mujhe to rat gaya tha. And they are not wrong, by the way, they are right. But the point is, sometimes people take the wrong message there. What do people mistake with? They mistake process for goal. Process is process, goal is goal. So what they are doing is, they are letting you know that you prepare in such a way that the process is what you have to follow. Goal will come anyway. Okay, and you yourself will feel that. So you know the books and all. Okay, anybody any doubt with respect to books? Anyway, and I will keep on telling as and when we start new topic. This topic has to be done from this book and our notes. So that again you don't no need to worry. But Indian philosophy from Charvak, Buddha, Jain, Nyaya, Vaisheshik, Sankhya, Yoga, Mimamsa, Vedanta, except Aurobindo, Datta and Chatterjee. and there is another book called C.D. Sharma, but that you no need to do anything now. You can just go through the notes and that book. C.D. Sharma, if required, I'll let you know, that is later on. One more thing, the concept of revision. Okay, when we revise something, we don't revise the material. Please try to understand. Or book. What do we revise? And this is not just for you, philosophy. This is a misconception for many. For UPSC also, for any other GS and all. When we revise, our conception is I revise this book, I revise this notes. You don't revise, for example, you don't revise Datta Chatterjee. You don't revise my notes or level up notes, whatever you want to call it. You revise Buddha. You revise the topic from whichever book, as long as it is authentic. You're getting the point. So, because same knowledge everywhere, right? My notes also going to say that Pratitya Samutpad, it has 12 links. Some C.D. Sharma is also going to say the same thing. Datta Chatterjee is also going to say the same thing. So, what are you actually revising? Pratitya Samutpad thing, not some book. And later on, everything will be part of your own notes. Okay, ultimate aim is to have one thinker, one page. One thinker, one page, and that's over. It's possible. Only thing is, it will be very cramped, everything put together. But you look at it, you are like revised. That happens after 10th reading. Okay. Any further doubt in this?